Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Path of Exile discussion. And today I want to talk about the progress of my Glacial Hammer Berserker build that I started out the league with. And I have to say, I'm going to be admitting defeat on this one. The build has underperformed expectations and has not been what I'd hoped it would be. Glacial Hammer as a skill doesn't have the range that I'd hoped it would have, and also doesn't have the impact that I was hoping it would have. What I was aiming for was to see decent freeze proliferations through packs, or not necessarily proliferations, but to see you'd freeze an enemy, it would then get a satisfying shatter with Herald of Ice, and that would cause an entire pack around you to explode. That pack would then chill some of the other nearby enemies, causing you to deal even more damage with Glacial Hammer against them, and this would continue. In practice, it's too soft hitting, and the individual hits aren't hard enough to freeze enemies in an impactful sense. Yeah, you get the odd chill, and you do get the odd freeze, but you're not getting them on the big monsters. Sometimes you can stun an enemy, but it's not been an overly effective build. It's certainly been successful in terms of getting me into early endgame. So I'm solidly in yellow tier maps. Characters able to solo clear yellow maps quite fine, but it's not performing as well as I'd hoped it would. Now, I'm not using particularly good gear. You can see at the moment that I'm using a 4-link chest while I'm trying to 6-link it, or at least 5-link it. If I can 5-link the chest, I'll be happy with that until I can get something better. But random numbers have not been working for me in that regard. In terms of other gear, I am using Zerfi's Heart, which is something that I picked up very early in the league. Partly as an investment, because I know that's the sort of item that's always cheap very early in the league and expensive late. It comes from a rare divination card, the Life Thief, which is believed to drop in Crimson Temple maps, but mostly comes actually from divination incubators and other map agnostic sources of divination cards. Zerfi's Heart is a very powerful item, and it's one that this build isn't optimized around using, but that is so powerful that it still works well on the build. Has a very real drawback. Items and gems requiring 50% increased attribute requirements means that I've needed to take a number of intelligence nodes on the tree as well as one dexterity node that have been sort of out of my way, nodes I would not otherwise have taken, and so there's a big opportunity cost there. Essentially, I am expending 4 passive points in order to make up for that drawback. However, the benefit of gaining Soul Eater for 10 seconds when you use a Vile skill is huge. I'm wanting to redesign this character somewhat, and I'm thinking that Cyclone is the most popular skill in this league for a very good reason, and that is because it is extraordinarily good. I resisted going Cyclone early because it was sort of the obvious choice. However, it seems like it is the right one, and so what I'm planning on doing is rebuilding this character with a focus on Cyclone. So this is the passive tree that I've had at the end of the period of it being a Berserker, and you'll notice this jewel is unsocketed. That's because I've just picked up a second copy of Winter Burial, but I hadn't slotted it in the passive tree. It could have gone here, and it would have improved the character somewhat. It would have allowed me to unspec these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points and pick up more impactful ones instead. However, that's not what I'm going to be doing, because I'm going to be totally respeccing the character. Now, my present plans, if I jump across into Path of Building for a second, you will get a sense of how I had originally planned my passive tree on a Slayer-based Cyclone character. One of the interesting things with this tree is that it can be entirely transitioned into a Marauder, and there's nothing stopping it. There's nothing about Cyclone that stops it from working very, very, very well with the Berserker. So that's my current plans. I'm going to continue running this character, but as a Berserker, as a Berserker Cycloner. I'm going to acquire a 2-handed weapon. I'm pretty low on currency at the moment, but I can certainly scrounge up just enough to get a serviceable 2-handed weapon. If nothing else, Kondo's Pride or Maroi Equi or one of the other cheap 2-handed uniques will be a go-to to start with, until I can get my hands on something better. I'll respec my tree to mirror what you see on the screen in front of you at the moment, and then at that point I will then be well positioned to start playing further. Anyways, that's all I've got at the moment. Until then, have a good one.